Megaforce is arguably the worst season of Power Rangers, and it's kind of awesome for that. In a way, it distills everything wrong with the franchise. There's an incredible excess of fight scenes at the expense of reasonable pacing, a ton of unexplained new powers and plot devices which appear without a moment's notice, and overzealous moralizing which permeates the whole series. But that's also what I find so endearing about it. It's unapologetic in its crude, childish nature. Unlike Dino Fury, which shoots for the stars and features a vast array of complex characters and plot devices, Megaforce is content to wallow in flamboyant mediocrity. It also, unlike most Power Rangers series, features an overarching narrative theme. You're going to hear about how awesome humanity is a whole lot on loop in Megaforce. Human exceptionalism is the heart of the whole experience, and every episode's story is devoted in some capacity to detailing both the general and specific fabulousness of humankind. It's unbelievably blunt about it. The narrative is divided into 3 story arcs, each detailing why humanity is better than insects, mutants, and robots, in that order. Every arc is terribly mishandled, failing to communicate its core argument with any clarity or depth. Basically, humans are cool because we laugh, we feel things, and we never give up. This frustrates the bad guys who try to combat us, naturally, by stealing our laughter, feelings, and determination. But they can't find a real weakness of ours because being human is just that cool. We defeat the laugh monster with fart jokes, we defeat the creepy sadistic bug guy with compassionate stoicism, and we defeat the dream-eating monster with sheer unmitigated hopefulness. Along the way, the series touches on a few more human values like girl power and environmentalism. The latter sticks around the longest, and it's perhaps the most mishandled. For full disclosure, I'm a tree hugger myself, but what Megaforce passes for environmental consciousness is highly performative nonsense. There's a dedicated character, Emma, the Pink Ranger, who loves nature and is ceaselessly optimistic. She's such a Disney princess that her singing makes flowers bloom, and she vividly imagines a world without human development. But the show never goes into detail about how and why to help the environment, or even seems to have any idea as to how nature actually works. You never see animals in this show, the flowers on screen are CGI half the time, and we defeat any polluting bad guys by shouting "nuh-uh" at them and then blowing them up. It's utterly comical. I guess now that I've brought up Emma, we should go over the rest of our Rangers. You've got Troy, the Red Ranger. He's a stoic martial artist who acts as the team's heart and motivator. There's Gia, the Yellow Ranger. She's a typical tough girl with a heart of gold. Then we have Jake, the Black Ranger. He's a goofball, confident Romeo who doesn't know when to back off. And lastly, Noah, the Blue Ranger, an introverted nerd who struggles to find his confidence. Almost none of them get any meaningful development, save for Jake and Noah, who have an honest-to-goodness, well-written friendship. Everybody else just exists to spout the episode's morals and get into really, really long fight scenes. So many really, really long fight scenes. Megaforce is aflush with senseless combat, more so than any other season of Power Rangers, and it comes at the expense of any character depth. Thankfully, we have villains and deuteragonists to pick up the slack. First, there's Prince Vrock, a robot-loving royal mastermind whose job is to prep the Earth for invasion. To this end, he fashions a secret undersea factory, studying and developing androids to destroy the Power Rangers. Vrock is second in line for the throne back at home, and has everything to prove to his royal family. He's cold, calculating, and prideful, and he honestly feels like a character straight out of Dragon Ball Z. He goes through a seriously disturbing transformation late in the season, and it's also one of the few genuinely emotional scenes. In Camp Deuteragony, we have the arguable anti-hero Robo Knight, sworn protector of the Earth itself. He's probably the best thing to happen to Megaforce, its literal knight in shining armor. When he first arrives, he's skeptical as to the worth of humanity, just like our villains, and refuses to work with the Rangers. But slowly over time, he comes to understand the purpose of teamwork, the value in humanity as a part of nature, and he grows to become a true champion of justice and peace. His slow burn, realistic development is exactly what this show was sorely lacking, and it's a treat whenever he's on screen. He's the real star, and his interactions with the human condition are as charming as they are sincere. Unfortunately, he isn't enough to carry the whole program, and ignoring the odd episode with real heart, Megaforce feels downright cynical in its distillation of corporate indifference. Plot elements are introduced and resolved with no fanfare or consequence. New powers are doled out like free candy because the Rangers mentor Gosei is actively, canonically developing weapons, and he's churning this stuff out as quick as he can. It's hard to love Megaforce and easy to hate it, but I always unequivocally choose love. So what's there to love here? Well, personally, I love the shamelessness. I adore how obnoxiously ham-fisted the themes are, how the show refuses to explain itself, and how unusually violent it is, even for Power Rangers. It is beautiful in its sheer ineptitude, and for that, I applaud it. Hey, you made it. We're at the end of the video. I really do love Power Rangers a whole lot, and that's because in spite of its Japanese origin, it is so good at distilling, celebrating, and mocking American culture. It's violent, toyetic, patriotic, and charmingly naive. Megaforce embodies these elements more than most, so of course I enjoy it too. Anyway, it's that time. The time to talk about Patreon. If you pledge to my Patreon at any tier, I will make videos about media you request. Speaking of that, several lovely people are already supporting my work, and I'll list them for you now. My wonderful supporters are I Pompous, Anonymous, Jay, Marth Sinclair, The Roses, Sam Anderson, Some Call Me Anto, Waposa, Mint Horse, Mike Hansen, Kay Storkson, Zuzu, Igor Oliveira, Hawthorne Bunny, and Folly Boyo. As always, thank you all for your time and thoughts, and I'll talk to you in the next video.